Hi, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Breann.
And you're listening to
Just Haunted House Things.
Okay. So on today's episode, we are talking about
Cougar Creek.
I'm
so excited.
Oh man. So we went last night
To the only haunted house, Christmas haunted house in Canada. Cougar Creek.
Cougar Creek House of Horrors, located just outside of Vancouver. Incredible.
Oh my God. That was like my Christmas day. That was my red bicycle under the tree was haunted house.
It was magical in our own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 haunted houses technically.
Yes.
Yeah. In one.
So, they had the
Caverns of
Caverns
Krampus.
of Krampus.
And I don't think I've ever said Hail Krampus as many times as I said last night. I was, you know that scene in House of 1,000 Corpses where they go through the little ride at like Captain Spaulding's shop, and the guy comes out screaming, "Dr. Satan!" I know I screamed that last night, but also it's like, "Hail Krampus!" was that feeling within.
Absolutely. So they had the Caverns of Krampus, and then they had the Merry Murder Inn.
Merry Murder Inn. That is a mouthful.
It is.
I was just like,
Merry Murder Inn.
The Murder Hotel is what I was calling it. Yeah. Same thing.
But they put on a Christmas spin to it.
It was so good. It was so good. They did such a good job.
And I think what I liked about it, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I liked that they didn't really change the layout.
No.
But they changed the decor enough that it felt like a new house.
Yes, and that's what I was thinking going through it as well. It's like, you're right. They had like the little ramps and the turns. Those were the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like the part where you stepped outside, that got me again.
Yeah.
And but there was definitely like some different objects in different areas, and those big things that you can't move because they're just they fit that location too perfectly. Mm-hmm. They like decorated really, really well.
Yeah.
And it fit the theme perfectly.
So well.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite parts of Caverns of Krampus? We'll start with Caverns of Krampus first, and then we'll go into
Okay, I'm glad you said parts because I could not pick just one.
Yeah.
So I'd say one, there's like an elevator experience.
It was so good.
It was so, because the guy, like, I don't know what you'd call him, but like the elevator, like, death guy.
Yeah, the elevator, whatever
he wore a very big like
black
hood.
Cloak.
Yeah, and like had his staff, and like you couldn't see his face, but he was so fun, but like held his power throughout the entire thing. Yeah. So it's as you go to this elevator one, we had like this person just like stand in between
both of us.
Yeah. Like I was following this person and this person was following you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, their stick was kind of dragged behind them, and I'm like, I'm scared what they're gonna do with this stick because I'm really close to them. Yeah. But then you go to the elevator and like the guy starts asking questions or like but to each person it's different, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And I was mad because one of the first questions asked was like, "What's your favorite Christmas movie?" Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, I've got the perfect answer." Yeah. And then that wasn't my question.
What would have been your perfect answer?
Well, Die Hard.
Obviously.
Clearly, it is the best Christmas movie.
Yes, it is.
And the second best Christmas movie is Die Hard 2.
Yes. So I liked that he had those like little interactions in order to get into the elevator. So it was kind of like are you worthy of coming into this room?
Yeah.
And so asked the questions, and then it was like acceptable. And for me, he asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I struggled.
Yeah, you.
And then suddenly he yelled at me, and I thought he was going to hit me with his cane, with his staff.
And what did you say?
And I said, doll. I panicked.
You like looked at me being like, was that an okay answer? And I was like, a doll? Okay, well, yeah. A creepy porcelain doll. Why not? But the thing he asked me was, show me your favorite dance move. Yeah. And I full on twerked.
Of course.
And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay,
thanks.
Yeah.
And then once we got in, he had us pledge our allegiance to Krampus.
Yeah,
like get on your knees.
You like literally got on our knees.
Yeah.
And we had to repeat after him.
Yeah.
And for probably 90%, it was pretty clear.
Yeah. And there was this one section.
Where he said something and like none of us could hear it. Because there was 4 of us that were in this group. and none of us heard what he said, and it was dead quiet, and I was just like, what?
And it was the funniest thing. Just like that comic relief was so good.
Like there was a good 3 to 5 seconds of dead air, and I was just
we just went, what?
What? And then, of course, he had us like get up, and then all of a sudden it was like, you two say hail, you two say Satan.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, not Satan.
Krampus.
But I mean, same thing. He's like satanic Santa. Yeah. So hail Krampus, hail Krampus.
And then he had us show our best elf hop.
Yeah. And because you stopped hopping, and he screamed at you and banged his staff
and
again.
He was like,
keep hopping.
That's not elf hop.
And you were like, oh God. And he just
hopped. Oh God.
But you're like, you're trying to hop through like, I don't know, like the the curtains that were like ripped up in front of us, and you're like, it's in my face. I don't know what I'm doing.
It was good.
So good.
And like those kind of reactions, I think we've touched on in earlier episodes of like character development, getting people involved.
Yeah.
The good part is that they were slow enough last night that they could do an interaction like that. We know most haunts can't do that.
No, like, and they gave a decent amount of time between groups.
Yeah. So that was a highlight.
Yeah.
That was super highlight.
I felt very special, and like it was like
taken care of.
It really felt like we had that entire place to ourselves.
Yes.
Just the 4 of us. Because like we went with a giant group of like, how many people?
I think there was about 10.
Yeah. And so we got broken up into like, no, I think you're right, because it was like 4 and then 4, and then the last group was just 2 people. Yeah. And and they probably waited until we probably got to the second house before they let the first one in. Yeah. The next group in.
Yeah, I have no idea, because I mean, we couldn't hear anybody else.
No.
Or maybe it was just that well soundproofed that you don't hear them.
Which you know what? I would not put it past that, because even when we went through at like Halloween,
you didn't hear a lot of screaming.
No, you heard like the sound effects. You heard people, maybe a group in front of you and maybe a group behind you if they caught up to you.
Yeah, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very possible that they were in and we just didn't know, because we were so focused on our own experience, which is, again, a big plus to them. Like, it was just so good.
They took what they had available to them and like really worked it within like their confines and made it like really elevated it for any customer going through.
For sure.
Yeah. And then, okay, so what other parts of the caverns of Krampus did you like?
Ooh, I really liked their actual Krampus.
Yes, okay, that was going to be my next one.
Yeah, so we walked. It was after the elevator.
Yeah.
And there was this one actor who stood in front of us and did nothing.
Yeah.
And then ran away. And then I think we saw them once again after we turned a corner. And then we turned down a really long, dark hallway.
Yeah.
And there was a person standing like way at the end.
Okay, yeah.
And then they bolted towards us, and it was Krampus.
Yeah.
And scared the bejesus out of the person in front of me.
See, I didn't see Krampus bolt towards you. The way it kind of worked was like, you guys, I think we were like right behind the curtain of when like he came running towards you. So myself and the person behind me, they like we just saw Krampus, and I was just like, oh, finally we're gonna be judged.
Yeah. He didn't really say much. But yeah, just that initial scare and just like the way he looked, or the way Krampus looked, I should say.
Yeah, I would say that like the only thing that would have made that one particular thing like just a little bit better, and it's only if the layout would have allowed it, is that would have been a really cool way to send people into 2 different directions.
Yes.
Like to have like a fork
naughty
in the road. Naughty or nice. Because like they had told you going into the house that like
you will be judged.
You will be judged. You will meet Krampus. You will be judged. And I was full on expecting to be like, okay, I'll go through one curtain if I was naughty and another curtain if I was nice.
Could you imagine like this brightly, like really, maybe not brightly, but like UV type room that had like all these like colors for like Christmas, like the red and the green, and then it had the 2 like doors, and then it had Krampus on like a fucking throne.
Yes, I want a Krampus on a throne.
And then it was just like the sounds of Christmas, or like Krampus Christmas
with like maybe some snow kind of falling somewhere,
and then suddenly he's like, you naughty, you nice, like And then you have no idea what's waiting for you.
And they could pretend to like throw coal at you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Because I was like, that's a Krampus thing, right? Throwing like that's.
I think so. You know what?
Like coal.
Let's Google.
Oh, I love Google. Technology these days is so wonderfully scary on its own. You can make a haunted house just based on technology, and I'd be terrified.
Yes.
Skynet. Full on Skynet. People, it's real. Stephen Hawking said it. Let's not be fools.
All right. So the Wikipedia says,
yeah,
Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure in Central and Eastern Alpine folklore who, during the Christmas season, scares children who have misbehaved.
Yep.
Assisting St. Nicholas, the pair visit children on the night of the 24th of December, with St. Nicholas rewarding the well-behaved children with modest gifts such as oranges, dried fruit, walnuts, and chocolate.
Delicious.
Whilst the badly behaved ones only received punishment from Krampus with birch rods, which we saw.
Yes. Okay. The birch rods, yeah. So, interesting. So there's nothing about coal in there?
Well, let me read a little bit further.
Okay.
So it says the origin of the figure is unclear. Some folklorists and anthropologists have postulated it as having pre-Christian origins in traditional parades and in such events as this Krampuslauf. I'm probably butchering that. I apologize.
Krampuslauf.
Krampus Run. Young men participate dressed as Krampus and attempt to scare the audience with their antics. Such events occur annually in most Alpine towns. Krampus is featured on holiday greeting cards called Krampuskarten.
Okay, a couple things I got from that. One, we need to go to some Alpine times.
Yes.
And I want to freaking do that run. Two, okay, it kind of sounds like he's like more of like a pagan, like he comes from like pagan style.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're getting at here. And I just want to say quickly, to anyone who may speak German, I'm so sorry if we butchered on any of that. So sorry.
I am not German by any descent, and so I apologize.
Yes, and we know there are people who listen to us in Germany.
So, if you have the actual, like...
Would love to know.
Please, because, like, I want
more history about Krampus.
Oh, my God, that'd be so cool. Please send us emails about it.
Because, well, it's, I guess, in modern history... let me read this. It says, modern history, in the aftermath of the 1932 election in Austria, the Krampus tradition was prohibited by the Dollfuss regime under the clerical fascist Fatherland's Front.
Bastards.
Wow. And the Christian Social Party. In the 1950s, the government distributed pamphlets entitled Krampus is an Evil Man. Towards the end of the century, a popular resurgence of Krampus celebrations occurred and continues today. The Krampus tradition is being revived in Bavaria as well, along with a local artistic tradition of hand-woven masks.
Oh, I love that.
Or hand-carved wooden masks, pardon me. In 2019, there were reports of drunken and disorderly conduct by masked Krampuses in some Austrian towns. That's pretty fun.
So it does kind of sound like it in history, it's not unfair to say Christians have covered up pagan traditions to create their own.
From what it sounds like. Yeah. Correct us if we are wrong, please.
Because I am not well versed on any religion.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like it kind of seems like the coal thing would be like the naughty part, because Santa gives either like presents or coal. And so growing up, I knew nothing about Krampus.
No, neither did I.
And so I only knew about Santa, and you just got coal. And so, but then distortedly, when I started to learn about Krampus, it was like he gave coal, and then it was the birch sticks.
Yeah. And kidnapping children.
Futurama mostly, I got that from. Yeah. But it kind of sounds like maybe they took like, to make it like more family friendly, they took like the Krampus and made that the naughty, instead of torturing kids, it was like they get coal.
Yeah. Yeah. But then it sounds like they combined Saint Nick and Krampus into one, now Santa Claus.
Because I also didn't know that Krampus was assisting Santa. I thought it was like they were two different, like, separate entities. Yeah. And it was just like, you either get Krampus or you either get Santa Claus kind of thing. Yeah. That's really cool. Ooh, I want to learn more about it now. Yeah.
Maybe that's some Christmas reading we can do.
Oh, no, I'm going to sleep during Christmas, guys. I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. I'm going to sleep and watch a lot of Die Hard.
Yes, Die Hard all the time. Okay, so now we know. Now we can understand a little bit more where the Krampus stuff and their stylings of this haunted house. That was really cool.
Yeah, I really actually like it. It's knowing more about the history. It's like I'm thinking more about the house now, and it just like it sits a little bit better too. Yeah.
Now I'm curious because there was a lot of elves. I'm doing quotations. But I'm wondering if that
is like part of
like a blending of like Christmas, like Christian Christmas.
Yeah.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Or was Krampus
like if did he have elves? Well,
let's look.
True, because like if he didn't, it is a good way like evil elves to have like kind of tie in the whole like actual.
You would think,
like,
right?
I don't know, but everyone has their own idea. Like when you think Christmas, you have like a certain stereotypical thought process on like just Christmas. And elves are a part of that. So it's not a bad way for like people who know nothing about Krampus to feel like that festive spirit of like, okay, there's elves, so clearly this Krampus thing is scary and it's holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a quick like Google of Christmas elves because now I'm curious of like the tie there. Because I want to be a nerd.
I've been singing that song for days. I fucking love that song.
It's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me the things you've learned.
Okay. So I'm going to read just like the overview of what they kind of have on Wikipedia. In English-speaking cultures, a Christmas elf is a diminutive elf that lives with Santa Claus at the North Pole and acts as his helper. Christmas elves are usually depicted as green or red-clad, with large pointy ears and wearing pointy hats. They are most often depicted as humanoids, but sometimes as furry mammals with tails. Santa's elves are often said...
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
That must be not North American.
No.
Interesting.
Interesting. Cool.
Santa's elves are often said to make the toys in Santa's workshop and take care of his reindeer, among other tasks. They were first introduced in literature by Louisa May Alcott in 1856. Oh. So wouldn't have originated with Krampus.
No, because that's way too recent.
Santa is much older, emerging in U.S. folklore in the early 17th century from St. Nicholas, with attributes of various European Christmas traditions, especially from English Father Christmas and Dutch Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas. The association of Christmas presents with elves has precedence in the first half of the 19th century with the Scandinavian Nis or Tormot.
That was a very good try.
Yeah. I apologize.
It was a very good try, though.
And St. Nicholas himself is called an elf in A Visit from St. Nicholas, 1923.
That I think I had heard before. He was like considered like the head elf, technically.
Yeah. So apparently the origins of elf are said to have been derived from Norse mythology, which refers to the Alfar, also known as Huldu folk or hidden folk.
Okay.
The elf character is most likely to have combined this Norse legend with other Scandinavian and Celtic cultures and myths regarding elves, fairies, and nature spirits.
Okay, that makes sense.
In various regions of Europe, there were similar supernatural beings that can be connected to elves, such as kobolds from Germany and house spirits named brownies in Scotland.
I was a brownie and a Sprite.
Same. In medieval Europe, elves were seen as nefarious and were often linked to demons.
Okay, that makes
a lot of
sense, especially like the whole like guide situation of like brownies, sprites, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Because when I was in like Sparks, which is the step before brownies, or no, and in brownies, no, when I was in brownies, either way, it doesn't matter. We had like different like, you'd have like 20 of us, and we'd be separated into like different groups, and the groups were. You're either a fairy or an elf or like, so I'm like, that's so cool. Oh my God.
So it's all connected.
Oh, that's so cool.
And we've all learned something today.
Yes,
on this episode.
You're welcome. Banana.
Because I definitely did not know that.
Look at that. Educational meandering.
Oh, it's great. So back to Cougar Creek.
Yes.
Now that we have all this information.
Okay, now that we've talked about Krampus.
It makes sense because Krampus is a kind of demon-like character.
Absolutely. And so
to have the elves
derive from it.
Humans.
Okay, it makes me want to sit down with like the owner and design people from Cougar Creek to be like, did you think about that?
Did you know about that? Like, did you research this part before doing all this, or were you just like Christmas stuff?
Elves.
Yeah, because like either way, it still worked.
Either way, it worked.
But
yeah,
now there's a separate layer.
Yeah, so now it's like really cool. So I want to ask them and be like, hey, what did you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the Murder Hotel.
Murder Inn.
Ah, damn it.
So close.
I wanted to call
Okay.
it. Yeah.
So, walk in.
Yes.
What's so good?
Okay. I broke my fucking purse.
We got so excited. So, we happen to know 2 people.
Technically 3 people we knew.
Technically 3 people.
We didn't know.
Who work at Cougar Creek.
Yeah.
And
we've
so
worked
happy
with them at previous haunts.
So happy to see them, but not see them because one of them was disguised quite well.
Yes.
So saw them, but one of the first people we saw in the Merry Murder Inn.
Yeah.
Was one of the people we know. And we just we immediately
fangirled like crazy, screamed.
Got so excited, got down on our knees and just started yelling,
We're not worthy!
We're not worthy! Full Wayne's World star.
100%. There was no shame.
No, we did not care.
I got so excited that I was like up and down jumping that the chain link on my purse snapped and my purse just fell on the floor and I was like, I don't even care. I just picked it up and grabbed it, and thank God it had like the short little handle things, and I was like put it over my shoulder and I was like, I'm just so happy to be here.
Yeah. It was so good. And it just
but oh my God, I'm not gonna say that this person did like extra good because they knew who we are, but that character was so good. Holy crap.
Their character was like
the front receptionist, kind of like person checks you in at the desk.
So they were like, oh, we've got a very special room for you, and go into room number 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
But went on this giant monologue, had the time to do it.
Yeah. Took you through the lobby around the desk
walked
area
us through versus just being stagnant in the zone,
and
which was awesome.
They took up the whole space, one person in this pretty big size room. Yeah. I'm not gonna try and guess the size. We know that's not gonna be a thing for me.
No Breann the Builder today.
I'm working on my permits. No, but their energy and just
it just filled.
The strength, the power was full of that room. I knew that if I went in that corner, that was that person's corner. Nowhere you could walk. That was their section.
It was their space.
So well done.
And then
we went around a corner.
Room.
I didn't think that they were going to be so close together.
Yeah, neither did I.
Not the rooms, but the people we knew.
Yeah. But that was incredible.
Yeah.
So we turn the corner, go into the next hotel room.
It's kind of it was like a hallway into a hotel room, which was cool.
Yeah. And then there was the other person we knew.
and they were like, oh, hey. And I was like, ah. And of course, we're like, ah, up and down again, freaking out.
Super excited.
And their character, too, was just perfect. The synchronicity from the first person, it felt like we were in the same place.
Yeah. Continuity was great.
Oh, my God. It was so well done. And they knew who we were, but didn't break character and just played on it.
Played up to it.
Yeah.
And then they continued to be like, we've got a special room for you.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da, this, that. And then come with me. I'll show you to your room. And it was creepy and it was wonderful.
Awesome.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
And it was another one of those things where their persona filled the room. We knew we couldn't go past them.
Yeah. And they also had I think there was one other person around the same area. It was they had transition points, and I was just
did not notice them.
No.
Did not notice them.
No, and not even intentionally, but I was just I saw them as we walked by, and I was like, oh, hi. And they were like, hi. And I was like,
yeah.
This person's just I'm sorry, but their energy is
just through the roof, bro.
Yeah. That was so good.
It was so good.
Okay, so aside from the people that we knew, because
yes,
and I didn't know the third person was until afterwards that you were like, hey,
that was so and so.
That was so and so, and I was like, oh my god! But that's because they like very sneakishly like let you in, being like, oh, I bet this wouldn't have happened in our last haunted house.
Well, I knew going in.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't want to tell anybody else.
Oh.
Because...
very good, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to tell anybody else because I didn't want it to spoil or have people looking out for who might be there or who might not be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did. He was playing Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And he definitely, because we were in this room and it was like set up as Santa Claus's bedroom.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Claus was there.
But also, it's like when you walk in the room, they've got a giant animatronic of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And then a real Mrs. Claus.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. If you can't have, like, if you have a giant animatronic, it's cool that you've got, like, the wife as a real person. Yeah. And plus, that's, like, it makes sense that Mrs. Claus would be the one talking to you. Yeah. Like, showing you places. Yeah.
And then I noticed in the corner.
Yeah.
That there was another Santa Claus. Ooh. And I was like, interesting. And I kind of figured it was going to be a real person.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he made a beeline for me.
Yeah.
And was like, you saw that I was a real person from a mile away, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I go, yep. And he was like, I've been waiting for you all night. And I'm like, oh.
So when that happened to you, he was like kind of walking with you, like towards the exit of the room. And I was still talking to Mrs. Claus when that happened. Shoot. So I turned around and I saw an empty throne and I was like, oh, okay. And then I turned back to my left and I was like, holy crap, that's a Santa. I was like,
very tall Santa.
A very tall Santa. But I was like, that's two Santas in one room. Okay. But like that was a solid fake out with that first one at the beginning. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's pretty clever. Yeah. Good job. Good job. Yeah. Also, Mrs. Claus was funny because she was like, you ate my cookie. Who stole my cookies?
Who stole my cookies?
And people were like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, I did. I ate them.
And then what did she say after that?
She was like, went to our first person in our group and was like, you're on the naughty list. Looked at you and was like, you're on the naughty list. Went to me and was like, you're on the nice list. And I was like, son of a bitch. How out of everyone here, how am I on the nice list?
If anybody knows Breann, she would not be on the nice list.
I do believe my mother would beg to differ.
Right.
But I am a golden pearl in her eye. My dad straight up would be like, nah, she's not on the nice list.
She's trouble.
He'd be like, that's my daughter. We know better.
Yeah.
Though out of all of the siblings, I'm pretty sure it would have been my brother on the naughty list.
Okay, so we're in Merry Murder Inn.
Yep.
What were some of your highlights aside from the people that we know?
Honestly, I think the coolest effect for me was that whiteout part.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Because you go from like super dark, like even going from the caverns to the hotel, it's like they keep the hotel pretty dark, minus all of the lights, like the Christmas lights, which really brighten the place up, but not too much. Yeah. That it wasn't like
it was just enough.
It was just enough. It's like when you turn your Christmas tree on at night, but you leave the lights of the house off. So it's like it's enough that you can see, but it's not overpowering. Yeah. And then you turn a corner and all of a sudden out of nowhere, like you push aside a black curtain and then all of a sudden it's white.
Bright white.
But not like the lights are on in the building. It's like angelic white. Yeah. And everywhere you go, they've got a couple little tinsel. It's like you're walking through a whiteout. If anyone has driven in like the mountains or Alberta in the winter, and you know, like when you're like white knuckling it on the steering wheel, that's what it felt like it was walking through.
Yes. Yeah. And they had like that, like you said, that tinsel, and then there was like that snow like stuff that was
like felt almost.
Yeah, that was like hanging from the ceiling. So it was all these different textures as you were walking through like this white hallway with white sheeting, and just like it was another one of those things where the texture created more suspense because you're like, what's next?
Because
and
it wasn't full of sound either.
No, and each sheet was like kind of offset from one another, so every time you were pushing one, there was another and another and another.
And though I liked the spacing that they had with it too, because it was it wasn't like, oh, you push one, then you take 2 steps and push another. It's like, if you want to get through this, you have to keep these aside. And it wasn't a quick 1-2 done. It was a decent hallway to walk through. I honestly,
easily 40 to 50 feet.
Oh yeah,
walk through.
And is that what that is?
I would assume so.
Okay, good to know. Now I know what that is.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you. Learning every day, guys. But I think out of everything, absolutely everything, I think that is my favorite part.
Yeah.
Out of both haunted houses, because it was such a complete shift in the senses. Yeah. It wasn't too loud. Like they kind of dimmed. Like I don't even know if there was music in there because it kind of felt silent because you're walking through a blizzard.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
So between that hallway, the freezer.
Oh yeah.
Which I
love a good freezer.
I loved the freezer because it has all the icicles in it.
Yeah.
And had all of that. But I liked that one from Halloween too.
Yeah.
So we can put that one aside. But I still really love that little cutout where you step out.
Oh, every time.
And here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
It was rocks before.
Yeah.
It was squishy this time.
It was.
And I was like, did they put rubber down? But you don't have enough time.
No, because
to inspect it.
Because you don't even know. They do so well with their transitions from like room to room.
Yeah.
Not even from like haunt to haunt, but room to room. You're like, okay, it's another big black curtain and a dark hallway. Yeah. You do not know that you are stepping outside for those 2 steps.
Yeah. And you're like, whoa. And it throws you off.
Yeah. Me and
immediately.
The guy behind me, we were just like, oh my God. Like Rainer and I. Oh.
It's so good.
We're just fuck. And then you're right back in it and you don't have time to
process.
Yeah.
And so like if I ever design a haunt again,
100%.
I am absolutely putting in that kind of like
sensation.
Yeah. Like a transition that is a tactile, physical transition versus just like a curtain.
Yeah, and it's not even like they didn't go crazy with anything. No. It's just like literally, I think it's 4 feet.
Yep.
Woo!
You're getting there,
Mama. So proud. Yeah. So
maybe
it's like,
closer to 6, but yeah.
Just give me this one.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. 4 feet.
4 feet. So it's like a 4 feet little section of like stepping out, 2 steps, and then in,
stepping right back in again.
Yeah. You really didn't have time to process it when you were outside.
No. It's so good.
Cougar Creek, man. Fucking killed it.
I love it.
Killed it.
And their facade looked amazing.
Again, yes.
Oh, because they had the Christmas lights and they had like Santa hats and stuff. And then they had like they had Christmas displays. Not just like Halloween meets Christmas. It was like there were extra pieces. Oh, so good.
Yeah, like that big wreath they had.
It was wonderful.
Oh, God. And it also like talks to the creativity of the team.
Yes.
Because yes, there, like we mentioned earlier, there's some objects that you can't move because based on like power source or just the size of the footprint, you can't move things.
Yeah. And once it's in, it's in.
It's in, and you don't want to take it apart because God, that could be hell all on its own.
Yep.
But the way that they adapted to it, like there were these 2 guys at Halloween just behind a chain link fence, just like growling at you and just like shaking the fence. And they're pretty much skeletons. And that was really cool for Halloween. But for Christmas, I was like, oh, look, they added hats. Not just hats. They gave them like little elf shoes too.
Yeah.
And they changed the music behind them. And then they changed what these guys were doing. They were like singing Christmas songs. Yeah. So it was a complete shift, but it was the same animatronic.
Stuff.
Yeah. It was, just like their creativity was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They nailed it.
They did.
Totally.
And even in their little like waiting section when you exit the house, they had, again, same type of
stuff.
Design. But I'm pretty sure they would have completely repainted some of those walls.
Oh, yeah. They repainted that one wall for sure.
Yeah. And especially like
wall.
they had a Krampus on the side too. And I was like, there's no way they just covered that up. There's
no way.
No, they took the time and the effort to do that. Yeah.
And they even changed out their last ride to a sleigh ride.
Yep.
So that was cool. And then
with
the
some
photo booth.
Funny sense.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And then the photo booth, they also changed out the stuff in that as well. And they added a fart, like elf that farts. And it was stinky.
And it wasn't even like super loud, but it was like the last photo gets taken and then all of a sudden this scent is released within the booth.
And it goes.
And we shoved like
There's about
six of us in that booth. And all of a sudden we were all like, no, we're done.
We're done.
Peace out. This smell is like, yeah, you hear about like some places that are like, oh, we've got smells in our haunt. And you're like, cool. And you're like, oh, I kind of got it. But that was horrendous. Mm-hmm. That was I will get out of bed and leave that type of smell there.
Yeah.
Gross. Yeah.
Oh, man. It was just so good.
Yeah. And the people who work there, not just like
so
actors,
wonderful.
They're so lovely. They're there to make sure that you're having a good time too. Yeah. They may not be wearing costumes and they may not be in the actual haunt, but they're 100% part of the team.
A+ all around.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really enjoyed the guy at the front who was like checking our tickets and letting us in.
He was so nice.
He was so nice.
And like, we know that there were some actors in there who were like not as enthusiastic or not as interactive. That's fine. Didn't matter because everything else was so on point.
I don't think any of the actors, because like you had said, there was like one or two people who just kind of stood there and were like, we may have not have necessarily noticed. But I don't, like, sometimes that can really take away from a haunt. Like you walk into a room and there's an actor and there's like nothing happening and you're like, oh, okay. You're like, that was lame. But like even the people who just kind of like stood and watched you, like, I think they did good. Yeah. I think they definitely did not take away from anything.
No, because they didn't break character.
Exactly. And that's what I think it was, is like, okay, so maybe this person does just like watch people. That's kind of weird. Yeah. And you're like, okay.
Maybe they were judging us if we were naughty or nice.
Well, they judged me wrong.
Either way, we had an amazing time at Cougar Creek House of Horrors for their Xmas of Chaos event. And
like, I'm just like, it was a haunted house at Christmas.
Oh, it was wonderful.
What, themed or not? Who the fuck cares? It was a haunted house at Christmas. It could have been
just a regular haunted house open for Christmas, and I still would have been happy.
Oh, I would have been freaking balls to the walls happy.
Yeah. But the fact that they kitted it out, so that it was a little Christmassy, was amazing.
Yeah, and like, I really like how they didn't just like be like, oh, Christmas tree, and then be like blood.
And we're done.
Like, okay, cool. We're going to think about a couple stories here and really incorporate it and make it like legit. Yeah. It's not a haunted house Christmas theme. It's a
Christmas
haunted house. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I was real stoked about.
Yeah. And apparently there's a whole bunch of those in the States. Yes. If you have a town that is like, or if you live in a town where it's like they do this at Christmas all the time, let us know. I want to go. I want to travel and see them.
Yeah, I want to see all of your haunts.
See, that would be a cool Christmas.
Oh, that would be great.
And then we can finish in Disney.
Oh.
I know. I'm planning us a trip now.
The way you're talking.
Well, because we'd have to finish at the Christmas version of the haunted house there.
Yes. And we could go to Universal and see the Grinch.
Done.
Because
absolutely done.
A character.
Yeah.
They bring him out.
I don't know.
That's hilarious.
I think I saw like a TikTok of that the other day, and I was like, he does the Jim Carrey voice like
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have that, and I would love that.
I would love that. So that was like our last hurrah of like haunted things for the year 2021, unless a new fucking COVID variant decides to pop up again and destroy the world, because that's pretty terrifying too. Yeah. But on a brighter note.
So this is going to be our last episode for this season and for the 2021 year.
Yeah. But not our last episode ever, folks. You can calm down. We will be back.
We will be back.
We're just busy ladies who really need to just like
take some time off.
Yeah, and not do this for a bit. Yeah.
Because life is busy.
Yeah. And
life is a little busy, and the
January.
Holidays. Yeah. I would like the holidays to be a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
And going into the new year, we both have lots
of
stuff
coming on, especially the first couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I won't be here.
No, you're going on a vacation.
Mexico!
It will be so good for you.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait for you to come back with a tan.
No. Okay. If you people don't know what I look like, I am so white. Like I can blend into a wall on my healthy days. And I know that I'm going to go away white, and I will come back white. But I will have tan lines. No one else will see them but me, because I'd have to like be like, oh, no, look. See, I wore a bathing suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm going to come back. I might have a couple more freckles. That's what will
Right.
pop up on my face.
Either way,
Yeah.
I'm excited that you get to go
Thank you.
and enjoy some sunshine.
Well, I'm excited that you get to go camping in the middle of the forest in the snow for New Year's. Yeah. Enjoy that.
Thank you.
Wear lots of socks for me, please.
We'll be wearing so many layers.
So many layers.
So my boyfriend and I, we were actually building out the back of his SUV so that we can have like a sleeping platform and a couple of drawers for like our camping stuff.
Yep.
But I'm actually really excited to go.
It's going to be so much fun for you guys. Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. It will be like, it's been a lot of work thus far, but I'm so excited. Aside from the point. We will be back with more episodes towards the end of January. Just the way it plays out, that's when it will happen. But we've got a lot of stuff coming up.
A lot of fun guests lined up.
And we're slowly booking in guests literally into like February.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy for us. But we are so excited to come back into the new year with fresh new episodes for you guys. And it will be our season 2.
Woohoo! Yeah. This is so exciting. If you guys like want to like, I don't know, give us tips or like if you guys want to hear something or like talk about something fun, just like drop us a line. Let us know. Because season, like we kind of covered a lot of the basics in season 1 and now season 2 is the world is our oyster.
The world is our oyster. So we could literally talk about anything. So if there's anything you want us to cover, talk about, drop us a line.
Go into more depth about.
Yeah.
I know there's one thing that I've been dying to talk about. I want to go into, and we'll do this next season, the history of haunted houses.
Yes.
We haunting and haunted houses.
We had the intention of doing that episode.
Like forever ago.
Forever ago when we first started. But everything kind of just like hit the ground running and suddenly
we had one guest here, one guest there.
Yeah. And we just didn't get around to it. So maybe that will be my reading over Christmas.
That's exciting. Because the plan is Courtney is going to do all the research.
Yes.
And I'm going to sit here and listen
and
be surprised. And I'm going to be like your guys' like live reaction too.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of like, I already have a tiny morsel of like some of the origins of like haunted attractions and where they came from. And like, I was surprised about where they came from.
Don't tell me. I don't want to know yet.
You.
Don't surprise.
But that is a future episode for sure.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
I'm like, okay. Sorry, guys. I'm going to like toot our own horn here for a minute. Yeah. I'm really proud of us. Like we've talked about this for a while.
Yes.
This has been not just for me, but for you specifically, Courtney, like a big thing you've wanted to do for a while. And I, again, feel super, super honored that you asked me to be the comedic relief.
Who else aside from my co-pilot?
Oh,
it's true.
The goose to your Maverick?
Absolutely.
100%. Those are our nicknames, PS, guys. Actually, no. Her name is Maverick. We're not getting into what my nickname is.
No, but we'll go with Goose.
We'll go with Goose. Yeah, so it's like I'm really excited that we did this, and it's like we have a season 1 wrapped up.
Yeah.
Season 2 planning.
Yeah.
We've got other things on the back burner we're trying to get going to.
And oh man, I'm just going to say this off the bat. 2022 is going to be a big year.
Boom.
Big year.
But also, like, thank you to everyone who has listened, whether it's been like one episode or all the episodes.
All of the episodes.
Like,
thank you so much.
It's really nice to know that people are out there and just want to hear us meander our asses off.
And like, we know that everyone can't listen to every single episode, but when you do listen, we see it.
Yeah.
We love it. We thank you. If you want to give us a share on your social platforms, we would love it.
That would be you don't have
that's
to.
That's okay if you don't want to, because we still appreciate you either way.
Yeah, and we're not here to like get famous, but like totally sponsor us and get us famous.
Thanks.
But like we're just two like chicks who like love this stuff, and we talk about it anyways. So we were like, hey, let's put it out to the world and see who else wants to talk about this with us.
I mean, I've literally watched thousands of YouTube walkthroughs.
Literally.
And I'd be like, hey, Breann, want to see this crazy haunt? And you'd be like, yeah. Yep. And then we'd talk about it and dissect it and
what we would do differently.
Yeah.
What we enjoyed.
Yeah. And talk about all the things that we've talked about with you guys so far. So I'm excited to do this more.
Yeah.
And I'm just so thankful that there are people out there who like this podcast, who have written to us and say that they are enjoying it. Even people who we have never met before.
No.
And
the diaper dude, I'm so excited.
I know.
I hope he hears this diaper dude shout out.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
so excited.
His name is Russ. Hi, Russ.
Hi, Russ. Not that Russ. Good Russ.
Yes. So excited for some of these people who have like entered our lives this year and have still been in contact, like Shar and John.
Oh.
I love them so much, and I'm just so happy that this podcast has opened a door to people who have kindred spirits to us and want to talk about haunt stuff all the time. Like, how cool is that? It's so cool.
It's so cool. Oh, we're going to have to also, just total side note, get the boys on here soon.
So speaking of the Monsters of Schlock.
Speaking of the Monsters of Schlock.
I should actually mention this because this is a good thing. We are actually part of a podcast network.
We are a tripod, one may even say.
Yes. So we are part of the Murdoch Podcast Network.
Love it.
Yeah.
There's like murder in that name.
So essentially, these podcasts have joined together to band together so that we can basically promote each other, so that we can get new listeners.
Help a sister and a brother out.
Exactly. So we've got Orbax and Pepper and Sweet Pepper do a podcast, which is a great podcast. We've been on it.
Go check it out.
It's a great podcast.
#softlog.
#softlog. You will not be disappointed. They talk to a lot of different people in a lot of different industries, and you will not be...
Just about a lot of different things.
A lot of stuff, and it's incredible. If you don't know who the Monsters of Schlock are, please Google them. They are Guinness World Record holders for amazing
Multiple
stunts.
Guinness World Record holders.
Yeah, exactly.
For just, fun things like getting a tattoo on a roller coaster. Pulling things with pulling heavy objects with hooks in their back. Fun stuff.
No big deal. So go Google them, give them a like, give them a follow, go and check out their podcast because you will not be disappointed. And then the other podcast that is part of this network is the Whiskey Geeks. And here is a cool thing about them is that they pair comic books with whiskey.
Grown man's fantasy.
Yeah.
Actually, grown persons, because I'm not a man, and I think that's amazing.
It's incredible. Yeah. So go check them out if you like either or of those things.
Yep.
But I know from a fact it is entertaining. You will be entertained.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So those are the two
So
podcasts.
You get haunted houses.
Yeah.
Two cool dudes
talking about
whiskey and comics. Oh my God. Okay.
Yes.
So that's a trifecta right there.
Yeah.
That's a weekend party.
That is a party.
It is a party. Actually, if we all got together,
that would be a party.
Woo! Bring the pumpkin spice box.
Hell yeah. Spice box. So yeah, you can check that out, and I'm sure there's a website somewhere that I will link somewhere.
Yeah, why not? What? Don't worry, we'll fuck it. We'll do it live.
Yeah. What else are we for but meandering about random stuff?
And then forgetting shit and just laughing. And that is why you all listen.
Yes.
It's not for the content. It's for the hilarity and the comedy.
Ridiculousness of us. Okay.
All right.
So
I think that's it. I think that is it for 2021.
Thank you again for listening to us.
If you want to check us out on any of our other platforms, we are on Facebook. We are on Instagram at JustHauntedHouseThings. We are also on TikTok, which is pretty new, and it's JHHT_podcast. Give us a like and a follow and a comment, and we are so bored that we will comment back.
That's right.
Also, we think you guys are amazing, so of course we'd comment back.
Yes, of course.
All right. Okay, well, I guess this is our final sign-off for the year.
This is it. We hope that you have a very happy holidays and a wonderful New Year's. And I'm Courtney.
And I'm Breann.
And this has been
Just Haunted House Things.